guys, welcome back to MJ's Dinosaurs. I'm MJ, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Dromaeosaurus. In this new series, we are going to talk about one of my favorite dinosaur subgroups, Dromaeosauridae. This includes lots of raptors and Dromaeosaurus. But without further ado, let's start talking about Dromaeosaurus. Dromaeosaurus albertensis. Dromaeosaurus name is from the Greek roots dromeos, and dromeos means running or runner, and sauros means lizard. Dromaeosaurus, size-wise, it wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small. It wasn't the size of, say, Velociraptor, but it wasn't as big as, say, Utahraptor. But it was about the size of a dog. It was a medium-sized raptor, and that's about 3 feet tall, give or take. Dromaeosaurus albertensis lived around 66 million years ago to 90 million years ago. It had a long reign, to say the least. It probably reigned, like 30 million years. And it was probably a very skilled hunter. As we know, it was probably very fast. And that was probably one of the main reasons that its reign was so long. And if it had evolved sooner, its reign could have been longer, because as we see, its reign ended 66 million years ago. That's when all the other dinosaurs died out. But we don't know how long this dinosaur could have lived, how long it could have continually evolved as a dromaeosaur. And I think that's really cool. It was probably a very strong and rare dinosaur, and I think it could have been very intelligent, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. It lived in the late Cretaceous, the upper Mesozoic era. This was about 66 million years ago, right before the dinosaurs died out was the end of its reign. And 43 specimens have been found of the Dromaeosaurus. The first one was discovered in Alberta, Canada. That's kind of a hot spot for paleontology. Lots of northern North America, like Canada, parts of Montana, like the Hell Creek Formation, and places like Wyoming also have good fossils, all the way down to upwards of New Mexico. And they can be found anywhere, but those are the kind of places where they're found the most and where lots of new species are discovered, like Dromaeosaurus. So it was discovered in Alberta, Canada, hence its species name, albertensis. It was named after the location where it was found. Like lots of different dinosaurs, sometimes they'll name them after the person that found them. I'm trying to think of an example. They were going to name Utahraptor because they found it during the time when Jurassic Park was being made, and Spielberg is the king of the large raptor that we didn't know existed, and when it was discovered, they were going to make its species name Spielbergersi or something like that, having to do with his name, but that ended up not happening, and they named this large dinosaur Utahraptor. Dromaeosaurus was discovered in 1914 by paleontologist Barnum Brown. He has found tyrannosaurs and things like that, so he is a very popular paleontologist from a long time ago. Like most Dromaeosaurids, Dromaeosaurus is thought to have had feathers. This is kind of controversial. Some people think that dinosaurs had scaly skin, and others think they might have had both. Maybe like a scaly face, and then the rest of the body was feathers. But we do not know completely for sure, anything for certain, but most Dromaeosaurids, we have found fossils in their specimens, in their fossils. We've found fossils attached to their bones in the specimens, so we know pretty sure that most Dromaeosaurids probably had feathers. But like all other Dromaeosauridae family members, the Dromaeosaurus had a sharp sickle claw, a lot like the Velociraptor we see in Jurassic Park. That fossil that Alan Grant holds, that is their sickle claw. We are not 100% sure as paleontologists whether they used it to slash at their prey or they used it to rip their prey apart, whether it was a weapon or a tool or just a form of display. Whoever has the biggest sickle claw is like the coolest, has the right to mate, and things like that. We are not 100% sure, but as time goes on, we assume it is a slashing tool for now. but as science continues to go, it may change. Dromaeosaurus was about as fast as a horse. It could run probably around 50 miles per hour. This is something we're not super sure about because we haven't observed dinosaurs in the flesh, but we do know that since it was very lightly built and we know that it was a carnivore, we assume that it had to be very fast, and that's kind of where it got its name, meaning running lizard, Dromaeosaurus. Dromaeosaurus had a large skull, and in the beginning we thought it must have been twice its size because of how big just its skull was, but then we found out that it had a pretty lightly built body about the size of a dog. That's pretty cool because this means it was probably very intelligent and that it probably had a very strong bite force. I think we can assume that lots of Dromaeosaurids were very intelligent, a lot like modern day birds, and they also have other characteristics that are linked to modern day birds, like their socialization patterns. Like modern day birds, some hunted alone, but there were times in their life when they were very social. Dromaeosaurus had big eyes, so when we think about big eyes in the fossil record, we know that it had very good vision, and if it was nocturnal, it would be able to see very well in the dark, because the larger the eye, the larger the pupil is, and the larger the spectrum of which it could see during the day, probably more colored, more of the colorful part of the spectrum, and at night it probably had very good vision, seeing a wide variety of shaded colors like black, gray, light gray, things like that. Just a very good vision at night if it was nocturnal, but we do not know this for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you like learning about Dromaeosaurus, because I really like Dromaeosaurus. I learned a few things in this video, like who it was discovered by and when it was discovered. And I hope you guys learned something new, just like me. And yeah, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. That would help out a lot. We just recently hit 30 subscribers, and I never thought we would get that far. And I thank you guys very much for that milestone. Dinosaurs out.